to watch some good Counter-Strike as well. Got plans for later this afternoon, this evening, meeting up with some friends. So I thought, why not start off the day with some Counter-Strike? So it's going to be Endpoint versus X-Finest here in the first semi-final of the day, Ted. Of course, there's going to be the second semi-final of the day later on as well. That's between K23 and Copenhagen Flames. And then we have the grand final on all 3 days here on this fine Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of CS to go through. Obviously, we are going to be covering only the first game, but taking a look through what the teams had to go through to make it here into the semi-final. Obviously, Finest going through Sinners and Blue Jays, 2-0 victories, no problems there. For Endpoint, it was a little bit more complicated. I mean, that win against Strict was a 2-0. It was pretty much straight off the bat, but against Honoris, that was a really close game. The final map ended in overtime as well, but they did manage to take the better of Honoris. On the other side, obviously, we have K23 and Copenhagen Flames, who are going to be playing straight after the end of this game. And then in the end of the day, the winners of both games are going to face off against each other, trying to figure out who's going to be the champion of the Champion of Champions 3.
That's a lot of champions, Ted.
Yeah, you know, I got really confused there for a second.
I mean, you nailed it, to be fair. You got it all right, so full marks, but that was a mouthful. Okay, well, yeah, that is how the stage is set for the action today. Exciting times indeed. As you say, both of these teams had a pretty hard-fought path to get to this point in the competition as well. Previously, the quarterfinals before this were a lot of heavy lifting had to be done. Let's look at the rosters, Ted. Shouldn't need to familiarize ourselves with any players at this point, but just to catch everybody up.
Yeah, you know, it's been a little bit interesting with Endpoint at least. I mean, obviously you have Mighty Max and Serial playing. They've been around for nearly 3 years now in this lineup. They're pretty much the bread and butter of Endpoint. But obviously you have MHL that got picked up by Mouse NXT. He's been doing a really good job. Nerds has been around for nearly a year now. And then we have the newest addition, Heavy God, who, to be fair, he's been popping off. And even though, you know, this is the starting 5, there's been a couple interesting things around Endpoint, right? They removed Carby. They played one game with Config as well recently. That 0-2 loss against Illuminar in the playoffs of another tournament. And well, in the end of the day, I feel like Endpoint, they're just going through a little bit of a rebuild, but I like that Heavy God addition.
Oh man, I mean, when this guy's on, he is very fun to watch. Ted, he's 20 years old.
Yeah, might get fooled by his massive arms.
He's rivaling Blame F there, mate. Either way, yeah, I think he's a fantastic addition. It's actually kind of crazy when you look at that Iron Branch team. I think it was that CIS team that he played for before this. All of those players actually, you know, were super strong individuals and have kind of gone on to different projects as well. A couple of players have joined up with that Ukrainian team. I think both Sensi and Yeki joining up with like Soltovsky and the squad. So I'm just saying he's he originated from that team as well, and he's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he was a part of Iron Branch, as you pointed out. He played on Webster's as well, so he's been about. On the other hand, though, we have a pretty interesting mix coming in. X-Finest not really playing under the organization anymore, but still a hella exciting team, right? I mean, obviously you have the core of Twist, Pleasant, and Shoggs that has been around for quite a while now, for a couple months, even from back in the days when they were still playing with the organization. Hades did manage to join in right before they got dropped by it, and well, unfortunately, they didn't really get dropped. Finest just stopped existing as an org, sadly. But yeah, Hades did play, I think, 1 month before that, and he's sticking with the boys after his time on Ends. And obviously, we have the legend Snacks, which just makes us even more happy.
Yeah, coming into the position of Kriaz, right? The player who's not a part of the roster anymore. And he was a part of Finest for a long time. You know, he was a part of that core before Twist even joined the team. So that's a big change. You think about the experience shift. Snacks has also been in some good form lately. So he's bringing quite a lot to the team. It's actually kind of exciting to watch his resurgence. You think about where he stood in for Ents, was it IEM Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, where they made it through to the final and then they lost in the final. But he just had a resounding performance. And before that, he wasn't on anybody's radar, if you remember. Only after that event where people were like, why aren't Ents signing Snacks after he played so well? And then he was the sub for Vitality at the RMR, and now he's been picked up by X-Finest. So it's good to see him in the mix again.
Yeah, he was cooling off a little bit after his time on Anonymous. I feel like a lot of people actually thought that, you know, his career was going the same path as Guardians, let's say, for example, you know, just playing some lower tier CS and really just disappearing into the abyss. But then he comes out of nowhere, has a really good event with Ends, and here he is playing with the X-Finest boys, as you pointed out, doing a really good job. But we're going to get straight into the veto now, Hayes, because we're running short on time. the players are almost ready to get things going. And straight on the back of it, what do you think about it?
Overpass is a map that Finest have played for a long time, or ex-Finest now, but dating back to the Finest days as well. It's a map that's always been in their wheelhouse. Inferno, super strong for Endpoint as well. I say super strong. I mean, looking at it statistically, not a map that they've actually, had as many wins on as they would like, but it's a map they're comfortable on. And then Ancient as the decider. I don't know, I kind of like this map pool for ex-Finest, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like it for Endpoint as well. I feel like if you're Finest, you always have to make the decision of, whether you want to play a nuke or an Inferno. Obviously you're going to remove the nuke. Endpoint is going to go for an Inferno. If it goes the other way around, it's probably going to be the other way around. I think that this has the potential to go all three maps. Overpass, obviously, as you pointed out, has always been a comfortable map for ex-Finest, has always been a comfortable map for the individuals as well. This is a map on which, Hades likes playing a little bit more. One of the few maps on which you can actually see Hades move a little bit more, because we know that he's one of the most passive opers out there. Not that he's not mechanically gifted, but, throughout the last year and a half, I'd say, since joining ENCE, he's been kind of accustomed to being that supportive oper that's left in the clutch. On Overpass, you can see him take the initiative. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a really interesting fight between the opers.
Yeah, I think that's a great point there, Ted. Certainly going to be a spectacle to behold. I mean, I've always enjoyed watching Hades. I think he's very quick with that AWP, which always means he's entertaining, right? I do just want to talk a little bit about Inferno, though, Ted, because this one's kind of got me flummoxed. I've just run through the numbers. Endpoints have played it once in the past month. They haven't picked it in any of their past 5 or 6 series. It's barely featured in the veto at all. So I'm not. This has kind of come from left of field. It's not a map that they tend to go to, and this is in a semi-final. It's not like it's a Swiss stage where they're up 2-0 or something and have room to breathe. This is a big call from them picking Inferno here in this veto.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move, because you saw your opponents play Inferno, I believe, in their previous game.
Yeah, they did
against Blue Jays, right? And it went to overtime. And ex-Finest, they were really solid on it. But it's entirely different when you've just seen them play the map just a couple days ago. It was quite recent. You can maybe take away some mistakes that you think you can abuse. And as you pointed out, they haven't really played Inferno all that much the past month. They've played it only once, which again could be a testament of we're not really all right on Inferno, but it could be a testament on the other hand on we've been practicing some Inferno, we've been putting some time, we just haven't really tried it out in a lot of officials. And I feel like Endpoint going through a bit of a rebuilding phase might be them rebuilding their veto in a way as well, because Inferno's always been a map that they've wanted to play. Back in the day when they had Boros, obviously he was the one-man show on this map. And I feel like after his departure, the results on this map have just been pretty lackluster, because they were so accustomed to just relying on him so heavily. But now, Nerds has stepped up into the, let's say, star position or star role, even though, it's not as much as it used to be with Boros, because in the end of the day, they're going to be different players. But Nerds, I feel like he's embraced the fact that he is the next big thing coming out of this roster. And with MHL as well, I actually like that Inferno peak, because he was playing quite a lot of it back in Miles NXT.
There we go. We have the comparison here on the screen right now. So it's a rifler being compared with an AWPer, Ted, which is always interesting to sort of cross-reference the two. Yeah, decent numbers for both players. Actually surprised to see the numbers as high as the Alpha Notes. I mean, I know that he's a strong individual, but those are numbers you generally associate with an AWPer. So he's getting a lot of work done with that rifle. And when you look at the core that he forms parts of on the side of Endpoint, you mentioned MHL as well, and now you include Heavy God in that mix. This is probably the strongest core that Endpoint have ever had in their organization. Nerds, MHL, and Heavy God. They've had like good individuals come and go over time, but to have 3 players at the same time on the roster being supported, and Surreal and Mighty Max as the pillars of that trio, that core, I think this is very exciting for Endpoint.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just want to highlight the fact that both Nerds and Anarchist are, well, their names are Guy.
That's true.
I just noticed that. I didn't know Nerds' first name was Guy. That's actually crazy.
Both from Israel, so clearly that's a common name from the region.
I want to highlight, as you pointed out, you obviously pointed out Mighty Max and Surreal. They've been doing a whole lot to give a lot of chances to younger players, and people that have been playing, as you pointed out, in a lot of those mixes. some puggy CS, some lower level CS, but have shown some individual prospect. They've been giving them chances. They've been making really good players. Not making, but creating really good players. I guess that Flames is another really good example of that. Boros as well, and they've been picking up a lot of young talents coming in from the Israeli scene. I feel like this is something really intelligent that they and obviously the organization is doing as well, because the Israeli scene that we know individually has a lot of prospects. The problem there is that, obviously there's not a good team, like a fully Israeli team going out of the region. So a lot of people actually overlook it a little bit. But when you think about it, there's so many people. I mean, you have a Spinks, you have an Exertion, you have a Flames. Now you have Nerds and Heavy God in this lineup
too.
Yeah, you have an Arcus too. It's absolutely crazy. The Israeli scene is stacked, and I like seeing that from Endpoint. Embracing that fact and giving a lot of chances to those people, because they've proven to be quite vital and quite successful in most teams on most levels of competition.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a tendency, a bit of a pattern where they're finding these Israeli stars before they're really on anybody's radar, right? Like you think about when Flames got the opportunity midway through 2020, nobody really, I mean, he'd been starting to turn a few heads, but he had only played in a team called Equus before that. So, he wasn't really on, as I say, many people's radar. They've done the same thing with Nerds and now Heavy God as well. So the scouting system is proving to be pretty efficient there on the squad of Endpoint.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about X-Finest here, though, Ted. The org announced that they're ceasing their operations because of the macroeconomic situation in the world, which it's always been a pretty big point of conversation lately, is about whether orgs are going to be able to survive, the impending economic doom. Oh, we actually have a game. Okay, never mind. So we'll delay that conversation and we'll get into the pistol round.
Oh yeah, we thought that we were going back to cameras, but apparently the players are ready to go in the server. Overpass map number 1, Endpoint starting on the CT side, that being the map pick of X-Finest. And the Finest boys on the T side here is going to be a B take, and Endpoint seem to have the right idea. 4 players towards that B bomb side. Now Heavy God is going to start making his way back, but Surreal's found a kill in the meantime.
MHL out in the open, at least gets a kill before he goes down. His teammates continue to roll through with the frags here as well. X-Finest looking to try and find something, but they don't really have anything to show for that initial scuffle. 2v4, no positional control to speak of either, so pretty dire start to the pistol round here for the T side. Yeah,
pretty Volko shut down there. It was the early peek towards short as well that made it quite uncomfortable. And now it's a 2 versus 4, Shocks and Twist, just hoping to get a peek off, but Nerds, he can just hold. Heavy God is going to start making his way back towards the A bomb side, leaving Mighty Max and Surreal actually in a 2 versus 2 towards the B bomb side. So 2 kills here might actually grant them with a bomb plant and a chance in the round.
Well, that's a great kill there onto Surreal. Still a player here underneath Heaven. He's got the kit as well, and he wins a big gunfight there. Does Mighty Max. Does the trade come through from Heaven? Not immediately. Bomb still has to be recovered, though, for Shocks, so this should be mission impossible. Flank coming through from Short as well. His life is on a timer, I'm afraid, and there we go. Nerds is going to get the free frag.
Yeah, it was a good find onto the first player, but then the bomb going down in such a, it's such an uncomfortable position to be recovered. It was always going to be a really tough round, because you not only need to find the first refrag, you then need to make your way into water, retrieve the bomb, get back to the bomb side, and that's going to give a lot of time to Endpoint to actually circle around you. This round going in favor of the CTs. I'm not actually sure. Can we still... Well, we can still call them the UK squad, right? I mean, that it's kind of became a testament. They're not UK. They're an EU team, like an EU lineup, but I guess simply because it's still Endpoint, we still call them the UK side, don't we?
I mean, that's like calling Fnatic Swedish, even though Crims is the only Swede in the roster.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, Ted.
No,
I really work for me, man.
I even feel like, I don't know. It's like if Liquid had more EU players, you would still call them. You'd still think of them as an NA team. That's what I mean. That's the vibes I'm getting from Endpoint. For me, Endpoint is always going to be UK.
I think you're just trying to help out the region, to be fair. Because if they don't have Endpoint, then that sucks. That was always like the flagship team, right? At least in recent years.
It is. Well, they've had some alright squads, especially on like tier 2, tier 3 level. Through the years, but yeah, I'd say that the next generation of UK CS is alright. Yeah, Into the Breach. Obviously, you have the Fanbit boys. You have one pin that they're doing all right. So there's a couple, you know, lesser squads that might have something to say in future time.
Ouch. That grenade touches down. Snacks unfortunately sees the end of the round. I mean, there was no investment into this round, bar I think one P250. I'm pretty sure that was the only thing brought up, and they've been able to yield themselves 2 quick kills here of X Finest. I don't think there should be much else on offer. Big kill there from Surreal. Now he's got them boxed in. There we go. Job done.
Yeah. Still a really expensive round, though. I mean, even if you don't get away with a bomb plant or a round victory, if Shox finds another kill, this is really great. Especially considering the heavy investment coming in from the CT side. Money is not really looking too fantastic. Heavy Gold, though, is going to be able to finish it off with a nice double. At least Endpoint get the round on the board, but losing both MHO and Nerds isn't going to be ideal. That was a good result considering it was just the eco.
Oh, and in case you hadn't seen this yesterday, Ted, I just asked production to slot this one in because you needed to see the sick highlights. So there we go.
Okay, thank you.
Now you're called out, Ted. We should keep a counter. You see, you both got T in your name, and I casted the guy Tulani in South Africa as well. So
yeah,
it's up to you guys.
I actually casted with Trav yesterday.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he says hi.
Homie, cheated on me? Damn.
Well, you just called me Trav, so I guess that shows how much you love him.
Fair enough, right? Don't take it personally, Ted. I love you too, man. Either way, look at the aggression here from Endpoint. You've got Nerds in a very poor position right now towards Party, holding a tight angle. Twist never expect him to be there, but there's an immediate trade, so I think X-Final will be fine with that. That's the only rifle that was in play, at least the only M4 for Endpoint.
Yeah, it was a good refrag early on. Now Surreal is all alone towards Connector. Pleasant. What's another player towards the toilets? That actually might seal the bait perfectly for the Connector player, right? Surreal is yet to get spotted. MP9 tucked in the corner. If he gets the kill onto Shox, he could upgrade onto an AK. And then turn around and isolate the fights. That's the only presence. Shox doesn't spot him. That's going to be a free kill. That's great from Surreal. Now he can get himself onto a rifle. And he's such a massive nuisance. They've spotted one player going back towards the A-bomb side. Surely you're not ready for heavy gun aggression. Even if you get that kill, you have no clue that there's another player towards upper toilets. Surreal, though, needs to be careful. Mighty Max drops snacks elsewhere. That's such a discombobulating round for X Finest.
Yeah. There's so much going on right now. Very difficult to maintain composure. Look at Heavy God. He hasn't had to do anything in the entire round. He's going to bounce onto Hades, gets a free AK, drops the bomb as well, and Plesser with barely any health to his name stands no chance in the clutch. They knew exactly where he was as well. That's really impressive from Endpoint after they lost that opening pick.
Yeah, that was great. You were never going to be ready for 3 people towards that A-bomb side. It was actually 4 in a way, right? You had the early peek towards middle, one player falls down, then you spot another player, I think it was MHL, falling back towards the toilets, and there was Heavy God and Connector, and there was Surreal. Oh no, there was Surreal and Connector, and Heavy God towards upper toilets, which, you know, you're never going to be ready for. I feel like that was just a great call from Endpoint. They just expected some heavy A presence from X Finest. That's what a lot of teams do when they have their first buy with the AKs and all of that, you know? You want to get the long range advantage. Especially when you know the CTs are running well. It wasn't a clear bonus because they still had to rebuy and reinvest into 2 rifles, but you knew that they had maybe a couple MP9s or Famouses left in the mix. So you want to capitalize on the long range fights.
Yeah, and in the end, it was the short-range fight that ultimately made the difference, right? With Surreal getting that kill onto Shox in lowers, so speaks exactly to what you're mentioning. Is going to be an eco here, or deco, should we say? Yeah. Probably like to see a little bit more utility. You know, maybe one guy just bites the bullet, gets goes in front of the Glock, gets smoked a couple flashes or something like that.
You know how we call those?
What do you call them, Ted?
Lightly armored decos.
Lightly armored decos? Maybe like a sprinkle of armor with some decs? Decos? I don't know. I'm gonna build on that. And you can see Endpoint are just giving the respect up right now. Not, you know, over-facing, giving fights away. Does look like MHL does. What a kill for long. Okay, we'll get the kill. Oh, nice shots coming through though in response.
Yeah, a couple of kills on the board once again. And Hades is going to be able to pick himself up an AK. He could save here, to be fair. I mean, he's got the armor. Could try to go maximum damage as well, but with only 15 seconds, that's going to be a tall order. That's going to be a 4th round for Endpoint probably, and Hades is actually trying to make the run for it, but with only 8 seconds, I think he's made his decision. Just hold on to the rifle. You're going to have enough money to have a nice buy going into the next one. Wouldn't have had the money for the AWP either way, so it's good. 4 rounds though on the back of the start here for Endpoint. That's a great way to kick things off in the semi-final game.
Yeah, absolutely, on their opponent's map pick nonetheless.
Yeah.
And not only that, but a map that Endpoint actually haven't played a huge amount of in recent times. They played it twice in like the past 3 months kind of thing. Okay, 2 months, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So, but they did play it yesterday in their quarterfinal game against Honorous, and they dished it out. They won 16-7.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a bit of a risk.
Occasion. Yeah, it is. But also on the flip side, how much, how much is there for X-Finest to study coming into this game to prepare for Endpoint? Probably not that much.
No, not that much. That's why it's a risk, right? They did win yesterday's game. Mighty Max actually had a really good performance. A fun fact, all of, Mighty Max, Nerds, and MHL, all of them had 22 kills.
Oh, damn. Okay.
On that overpass yesterday against Honoris. It was quite a surprise to me, to be fair. And, they've started well again. Their CT side yesterday gave them 9 rounds. Looking for more here, maybe, but you have to deal with the big man. Not hungry just yet, but he just grabbed a quick snack.
Oh god, Ted. Cross references coming through. I like it actually. Rare advantage for X-Finest, right? They haven't had an opening pick, I don't think. At least not one that hasn't gone immediately traded. So 5 versus 4. Decent positional control as well. They clear out the top side of the map there towards Fountain and Party. They know that there's no deep control and information being held by Endpoint. They've got lowers too. That allows them to group up outside of this B-bomb side. However, Endpoint have gone for a bit of a gamble here. They've gone for a read. They've rotated an extra player towards B, so they're weaker at A right now, but that's not a problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem. They have the AWP just spotted. They have 3 players towards the B-bomb side. Twist, though, doesn't really care. He's going to get 1 and 2. That's great work from the IGL Studio. Fights back with 1, but Snacks is there to shut him down. That's just a great round from Twist. It's a really good call as well. It's just the explosive play towards the B-bomb side. Twist gets 2 kills. There's no way that you bounce back into a round like that if you're Endpoint.
Yeah, beautiful entries coming through there from Twist. Man, oh man. Just destroys Mighty Max there towards the barrels. Never stood a chance in that angle. You're kind of hoping that you don't get checked, I think, if you're taking up that position as Mighty Max, because Twist was just a live wire with both of those kills. And X-Finest, they executed in towards 3 players on that B-bomb side, so that was a stock standard defense there from Endpoint that barely made an impact on the defense.
Yeah, first round for Finest here on the T side. Gonna make it a little bit more competitive from now on, you'd think. Money, of course, not looking great for Endpoint because, the T's have been able to do a lot of damage. MHL still going to be able to hold on to his AWP. That was quite important because he is the only one that can drop over guns as well. If they want to go for the instant reinvestment, might actually think about a half buy, but yeah, I think you just drop rifles all over the place. Mighty Max is going to be on an MP9, Heavy God with the FAMAS, but it's all good. You have the defuse kits, you have utility, an abundance of it.
Absolutely. Is a situation where if Endpoint loses, they're going to have to eco. Nobody in towards lowers this time from the CT side. Happy to keep their distance. Probably, recognizing that this is an important round as well. They don't want to make any unnecessarily aggressive plays off the bat. There's the MP9 going in towards water right now. This is a coordinated attack. They got both Surreal and Mighty Max working in tandem, but it's just to clear it out initially.
I feel like you wanna start it nice and slow as well for MHL's sake, right? Let them get involved into some action with the AWP, maybe get a couple defensive peaks, fall back, play the man advantage. You still have a lot of utility, even though, you have 2 players that are not on the premium rifles. You have a lot of util, you have the defuse kit, so you can get away with playing the defensive playstyle. And Nerf's position towards upper toilet is actually going to be quite important, but Snacks, he's picked up another kill. That's going to be a nuisance. His presence towards short, he did that a couple rounds ago, and now again, Snacks, he's even going to go for more now, realizes he doesn't really need that. He's going to wait for his teammates to arrive, and with 35 seconds, they need to start making their way into the bomb sites. And look at Endpoint, they've rotated 3 people towards the A side, and now they've realized it.
Yeah, I'm so surprised considering the deep control Nerds has and Heavy God spotting long that they still kept MHL in position. He's trying to rotate through, but he's not going to be there in time. So it's going to be X-Finest to get full control. I don't even know if Endpoint want to have a crack at this. I think that committing to the save off the bat was probably the best option. Now they've already lost Mighty Max. Sunken cost fallacy in effect. Do they commit after losing a player? No. Going to cut their losses and take these guns into the next round. But a beautiful read coming through from X-Finest. And a bit of a questionable hold there from Endpoint.
Yeah, Nerds was towards long the entire time as well, so even if they got that kill from Mighty Max, he would have been quite isolated from the action. It's just a pretty discombobulated round coming in from Endpoint here. I guess once again they expected an A finish, considering that Snax, you know, shows some heavy presence towards the B bomb side, and a lot of the times you're actually going to see Snax, you know, on the other side of the map, just having his own playtime, trying to create space, trying to bait in some rotations. Good call for X-Finest to actually play on the back of that kill that he does find there towards short. For those of you that are just joining in, ladies and gents, obviously, we are looking at the semifinals right now. Both teams actually were invited. So, yeah, you know, teams going out of the group stage, not quite fortunate as we're going through the first tactical timeout for Endpoint. We can actually go through the results that they've had so far. As we pointed out, they did manage to take down Trick in a 2-0 fashion in their first playoff game. That was a 19-16 on Nuke and a 16-7 on Vertigo. And they did manage to beat Honoris in their second one, losing the first map 60-16 on Vertigo. But then the reverse sweep, 16-7 on Overpass, and the 22-20 game on Ancient. On the side of X-Finest, it was, well, I was going to say a little bit easier. Not really. I mean, it's two all victories, but they were quite close. Against Sinners, it was 16-14, Ancient, 16-13 Overpass. And then against Blue Jays, it was the double overtime 2-0-16, or rather 19-16 on Dust and 19-17 on Inferno. So both teams have been actually accustomed to playing quite close games in longer series.
Yeah, absolutely. Super hard-fought victories from both of these squads to get here. Even though you see the 2-0s for X-Finest, they don't really tell the full story on how hard fought those victories actually were.
Yeah, that's a 4-hour-long 2-0, let me tell you that.
Right, yeah, you get those games, man. You get those games. Interesting sets of weaponry up for Endpoint. 2 USPs and then the 3 guns they saved from the previous round. Notes will get traded out. That's fine if you're X-Finest, though. One of the guns on the deck. No way to recover that either if you're the CT side.
Yeah, it's a good trade. Still a miracle that Nerds actually gets a kill. He was a little bit off with the timing. Mighty Max's USP actually does a lot of damage there onto Snax. But X-Finest, they've already made their way onto the A-bomb side. You cheeky biscuits. Oh, it's all opened up for business. Obviously, this is a bit of a hard buy coming in for Endpoint. They have the Famous and the AWP that they saved up in the previous round. They had Nerds' M4. He was all alone towards A. And yeah, they're just stacked on the B-bomb side. Heavy God was actually holding first, but Pleasant still wins the fight, and that's going to be the round done. Hold on to the AWP for the next one, MHL. Mighty Max and Stereo just going to be his bodyguards.
Yeah, that's the most important objective now. X-Finest with some nice attention to detail with the way that they make their way through the round. I mean, it comes pretty close. You can see a few low HP individuals, but for the most part, in control.
Yeah, it's been quite all right. I mean, haven't really felt the need of seeing Hades on an AWP yet on the T side either, which is good, right? He's always been an oper that's, I wouldn't say way too comfortable with his oping on the T side, or at least he's doing a really good job with the rifles and sometimes prefers to have them on. Great sequence there. As we were speaking about his prowess with the rifles, he's actually going to be able to pick up a double. Not quite the triple. Twist is going to steal the way, but yeah, nothing saved up. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't even pick up the AWP, so, I mean, I was going to say, it seems like it's a choice because he had enough money to buy up the AWP, but he's gone for the AK.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm quite surprised because normally T-side of Overpass used to do quite a lot done with the AWP, right?
Yeah.
It's maps like Vertigo and Nuke where you tend to be a lot more limited. So it's a surprise to me that he's not actually opting to use the AWP on the T side here of Overpass.
Yeah. That's a true point about the maps, but this is more of a, you know, Hades thing and his personal preference and, you know, the way that Endpoint want to approach that T side. But you're dead right. I mean, AWP on the T side of Overpass could be quite impactful. You know, you get a lot of chances for peaks. You have a lot of space you can cover, a lot of positions you can cover.
And another thing I would love to say is being the CT AWP, that's a dream, right? Not having an AWP on the T side. Think about how many fights and peaks you get to take. Oh god, shocks. That is just so crazily bold.
I
More
don't believe
trades.
He just walked through the smoke and killed him. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. I mean, if you're holding on the other side of that smoke, you never expect a play like that to come through. Shocks needs to be careful, gets tagged down, smoke in, gonna isolate Heavy God, and I think it's another save coming up.
Oh my god.
Well, now
Snax has already got them boxed in though. Yeah, I mean, I think they're already committing to the save. Now, they're gonna have to fight for their lives. They're not gonna be afforded the luxury of just running away from the action. There is no escape. Daddy Snax has got you locked in.
Yeah, and that's something that you got to deal with when you're playing the CT side of Overpass, right? Whenever it's an A hit, a B hit, it doesn't really make a difference. Snax is always going to be towards short, no matter what's going on. And people have known that for years as well. I mean, it's always been kind of his bread and butter. He's always going to be that guy, you know, you let him go into his own devices and do his own gimmicky plays. And that's quite successful. I mean, it's... I guess you can look at it from the other perspective, where if his team is really unsuccessful on their A hit, he's pretty much isolated and it feels like he has no contribution to the round. But if it works out, actually, he's in a prime position to, you know, deny them from saving, cut off rotations later on, maybe if they want to go for the retake. So it's yeah, it's a great little detail there on the T side of Finest. Snax's performance towards short.
A lot of the normal criticisms of the lurk role, right? As you so rightfully say, if things don't go according to plan on the opposite side of the map, you kind of just get left helpless and you can't really have any impact. But when your team do get it right, then you can really thrive in that role. Endpoint not going to invest around the couple guns that they saved from the previous, as the scores have now been leveled up. Both teams have won 4 consecutive rounds, and Hades has got the big orange and white in this case. The Asimov skin.
Yeah. Big orange and white. I actually love the Asimov.
It's a classic.
Yeah, I have one.
It's an OG.
Yeah, you get it with the VP stickers.
That's a good option. I like the Vulcan as well. Even the Cyrex, like Pleasant's got here, this is a good old school option.
Yeah, I don't like the choice of stickers though. Not gonna lie.
They're going for the contrast, right? The blue and the red.
I get it, but I don't like it.
Okay, fair enough. He has a Vulcan as well. No surprise to see the Snax is rocking a Vulcan, assuming this is his. I think that's his stickers on it.
Yeah, it's going well with the gloves. We're just speaking about their fashion choices right now, but
isn't that what we paid to do, Ted?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure that's the contract I signed.
That's the memo I got, yeah.
Yeah, Snax is once again gonna farm a couple kills. Shocks, pretty straightforward. Ooh, a lovely triple kill there from the man. Actually, 2 of the fights that he picks up there were against the rifles as well. It's not like he's just farming the eco kills. There was 2 M4s in the mix. He kills 2 of them and 1 pistol. Another buy coming in though for the CT side. That's been 5 in a row now for Finest though, right?
Yeah,
I mean, T-style supremacy. It started quite well for Endpoint. They won the pistol, they won the conversions. It did look quite solid. MHL hasn't really been getting a lot of action with the AWP. This is something I'd really want to see change. I feel like, you know, obviously it's a map that gives you a lot of possibilities, as we spoke about it. You can go for multiple peaks, and I really want to see him take some initiative towards the A-bomb side.
I couldn't agree with you more, Ted. I think it's just about him not really getting himself into the game enough. He's just been sitting sort of deep bathrooms from the start of the round, waiting and hoping somebody comes in towards his scope. But you got to be a little bit more proactive than that. Oh my god, speaking about being proactive, Notice gets a kill straight through the wall there, and he's done so much damage to Pleasant as well. Damage gets exchanged though, and now it's 1 bullet either way, and it's going to be Nerd who finishes it off.
Yeah, that's a great play. The pixel spot. He's the player, spams him through, no chance to fight back. And simultaneously, I think it was MHL to get a kill through a smoke with the AWP. Hades is finally gonna fire back. He was posted towards connector this entire time. And they still have Nerds that's really close. He's really low on HP as well. Snax doesn't realize it. Samka's actually gonna bait him in, and that's another free kill. Hades has no idea what's going on. Nerds is an absolute thief in this round, as Snax has been left in a 1 versus 4 deja vu, maybe from a couple years ago, but this one is going to be extremely hard to pull off.
Oh, Snax was hoping to get a little bit more than just the 1 kill, but Heavy God eventually pivots in his direction, so he has to snap up the kill. Won't be able to get out after that though. I don't know how blind Nerds was. It says in the kill feed he was. Snax was actually jumping across there, so if Nerds was full blind, that would be impressive. This was impressive nonetheless.
Yeah. It's just a good setup coming in from Endpoint, right? Overpass is one of the maps that I really like on the CT side because it gives you that, well, it really makes you work on the T side in terms of the CTs having the possibility to actually make you feel quite claustrophobic, right? That's something that you normally see with a lot of Danish teams. I'd say the best example, or at least the name that comes out to my mind, is a Blamev that loves being really proactive towards the A-bomb side. And he's that type of a guy that, you know, he can make you feel like you have no space to work with on the T side. And Overpass is a map that gives you that possibility as a CT, right? You have the double molly in the start of the round towards team mid. You can push up towards playground. You can get posted in an aggressive setup towards party. You can try and find from fountain. There's so many angles that you can go for. You can try and fight lower as well. You can fight for short control. And I feel like Endpoint really wanted to be quite passive in the first couple rounds. And, you know, they were kind of trying to bet on the fact that their individuals towards the back of the sides are going to deliver as soon as the hit comes through. But yeah, I mean, switching up the pace a little bit, making Finest work for it. And you got to feel like they need a couple more here on the defense.
Oh, double push coming through the monster smoke here. Right now, Flash is good. Hades doesn't spot them initially, and he's been seen. Doesn't even know that they've actually come through, but he does start to clear it. Great awareness there from Hades. And that smoke coming through will give him the information that there's a second player here as well. Look at the response from X-Finders. They just push their way up short and towards the B-bomb site. Heavy got tasked with trying to control that, but he's lost his head to Twist on the entry.
That's
devastation for Endpoint on the B-bomb side.
Yeah, awkward exchange. Shox drops Mighty Max in the meantime, so the B-bomb side's actually open for business. That's going to be another round for X-Finest, probably. It's a 2 versus 4. MHO and Nerds should be thinking about the save already. And that was just a great reaction, as you pointed out, right? You hear the flashes. Hades gets one. You know that normally that push is done by 2 players, and I believe Hades even heard the second one as well. You know that
through as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's a calculated risk to just swing short through that Molotov, because most of the time there's going to be just one player towards the B-bomb side. You know, he throws the flash and then he's responsible only of short, and you already have 2 players on the T side towards short. So it was kind of like it was really quick. It was really quickly that you could have made that move, and yeah, it was great. I mean, you catch him completely off guard, out of position. I think he still had a nade in his hand, get the free kill, and Heavy got, even though he's in a, well, decent position, I guess you could say, quote, decent position, but yeah, quite unfortunate. Surrounded by players, all alone. His closest teammate back on the A-bomb site. No chance to fight back in the round. 6 on the board for Finest, and the second tactical timeout coming in for Endpoint. Things are starting to feel a little bit shaky here.
Well, they've lost what 6 of the past 7 rounds, Ted.
Yeah.
So
they were 4-0 up.
Mr. Ted?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I lost you for a second there, but it sounds like
no,
I don't know if
I'm
that was
here,
just
baby.
on my
Don't
end.
worry.
Okay, I got scared there. I was getting worried, but now I've got
by the way,
gentle touch
we
once
spoke
again.
about Trav earlier. He's actually in chat.
Oh yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
God damn, he's caught me in the act, Ted.
Yeah, Trav, Hayes already called me you.
Oh god, that's true. I think I've only done it once, right? We did say we're gonna keep a.
It was like
keep
5
a
minutes
counter.
in.
I did stop myself from doing it a second time, so I'm proud of myself.
appreciate that.
I'm already catching on to it. If you want, you can call me Zerfa. Zerfa? I always thought it was Zeppa, and then I saw the extra R there.
Yeah, it's Zerfer. Yeah.
Zerfa. Okay, that makes sense. Mighty God going to get traded out as X-Finest do transition their way aggressively in towards the B bomb site, turning up the pace here, Ted.
Yeah, they are. Pleasant picks up another one. B-bomb side once again compromised. Nerds from short though is going to find another kill. Snax going on top of the side, trying to find Surreal towards the water, but this is his territory. Shox finally takes him down, but MHL's already posted on the angle. Bomb's actually in Shox. He can make the run towards the A-bomb side. He's low on HP, but there's no one to challenge. He's going to get away at least with a bomb plant, and he's going to have enough time to get into a decent position. Endpoint, just now they'll realize what's happened, and this is really interesting. The way that Shox approaches this could be the difference maker. I believe he's just holding towards back default right now. Yeah.
I'm surprised that Endpoints are deciding to walk this right now. It means that they're going to have a lot less time to work with, but Shox is in the open. He should just get traded out here. Even the timing could be awful. He's going to be hearing... Nurse. There we go. There's a couple shots that come through. Now they decide to push forward aggressively. Good wide swing coming through from the first player. Nerds peeks out afterwards. He gets the kill straight up. And that was just unfortunate positioning there for Shox. MHL going to kind of close, but they'll defuse just in time.
Yeah, that was an awkward idea. I mean, I don't think I've seen a lot of people approach that 1 versus 2 in the same way. I guess he felt like there could have been a person towards toilets or towards banana already that was holding. I don't know if he realized that both of them are going to come from CT. He probably was hoping that they would try and, you know, come through from connector, but yeah, it's a good move, you know. As you pointed out, they decide to walk it down. They want to make sure that he's not pushed towards CT or bank, and it's a lot easier to isolate him even if he's hiding towards long or towards the toilets.
Yeah, I do still like the change of pace there though from X-Finest getting very aggressive through the monster tunnel in towards the B sites. I think it was a good time to try and employ that tactic. And it actually got off to a decent start, but then Endpoint were able to make a mark on the defense. Hades narrowly misses out on getting the opening kill there for his team, and Nerds wants to actually try and peek on a timer.
Yeah, Hades has went for that connector peek a couple times now with the AWP. Hasn't really been able to find a kill just yet, but he's been a nuisance, especially after the first couple rounds. And you know, finally seeing that Surreal likes going for that play sometimes. This time around it's going to be Nerds, but Pleasant on a really good snap there is going to take him down and out of the equation. Short control established for Endpoint, so at least they have something going on for them. But once again, X-Finest find the man opening, and if they win a round like that, that's going to put Endpoint in a really uncomfortable position. We're talking 7 rounds T side, potentially 8, considering you're going to be up against pistols. That's a really important conversion here for Finest.
Not only that, but keep in mind the scoreline was 4-0 for Endpoint at one point, so it's completely slipped out of their control since then. Gonna have to be a huge hold from Heavy God here on the A bomb side if he's gonna stand any chance of rescuing this round for his team. Pleasant leads the charge forward, clears out towards the back of the truck. Oh my god, so little room here for Heavy God to maneuver, and now he's been spotted out as well and taken down by Shox. X-Finest flawless on the entry and the execute. That's gonna net them their 7th. It's actually a really well-rounded team performance here as well, Ted. If you just look at the numbers and think about the impact each player's having right now, everybody's plugging away and chipping in from X-Finest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a team effort. That's the only way to put it in. I like the fact that Hades is trying to go for an early peak. I know he's not being over-aggressive, but as we pointed out, that's not really his style. But still, you know, just holding the line down connector. He did win the 1 versus 1 Diop fight in this round against MHL as well. And I actually have an interesting stat for you. So far, obviously, speaking only about this tournament, and the 2v3s that Endpoint, or rather X-Finest, have played, on the T side, Hades actually has attempted only 8.8% of the entries. Which is, yeah, it's quite low. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
That just comes
a low number.
It just helps us out to emphasize on the fact that he prefers being the supportive guy that's left in the clutch.
Yeah, I don't think that's normally what you expect out of your AWPer, right? Normally, you want him to be in the thick of things more than that, and trying to find those opening picks.
A little bit, even though the meta is a little bit different now, but oh, okay. That's good.
No.
Hades.
Oh, there we go.
Hello. Yeah, no scopes there for a second, but still manages to recover.
There's an opening kill for you, Ted.
Yeah, that's one of those 8.8.
That's like less. That's like 2 per half, man. That's not many.
Yeah, still able to put in the numbers though. But the only problem with going for this boost and actually finding the kill is take a look at how much space Endpoint have found in the meantime, right? Not only they find the refrag onto Snacks towards short, but they have Nerds that is really close. Still though, they gotta commit towards the bomb side. That's the only control that they have, and Shox is gonna open it up.
Heavy God will get the kill, but gonna be an easy trade in the end there from Hades, and now it's Nerds, who you mentioned, had pushed forward all the way through towards Playground on A. Means he's gonna have a pretty quick flank here. Should start to be considered by X-Finest, but Nerds finds himself a little Easter egg on the way. Maybe a Christmas present would be a better reference in towards the speed bomb side, but Hades has already got the angle on lockdown. He's so confident right now with his back turned towards Evan. And he is correct, but he does miss the shot, however, Pleasant won't. X-Finest go up 8-6. They don't slip up on the proverbial banana peel here in the anti-eco. Got a bit close there.
Yeah,
but they make it work.
Yeah, well, it was a good
so much time to hit that shot, actually.
Yeah, especially when they jump. jump, and I think he actually saw. I think Mighty Max actually saw him when he was making his way down towards water, so he kind of tried to turn around from it, but yeah, not really gonna work out.
He can't do much. I think there was also a missed flash there on the B bomb side from Endpoint with Surreal peaked Monster. I think that flash could have been devastating had it gone ever so slightly deeper. Not normally a problem I'm faced with, Ted.
No whatsoever. Hades, speaking about going for early peaks, he's gonna attempt it towards short this time around. Pleasant gets the entry onto MHL elsewhere, and they're gonna show their presence. Hades, oh, he's hoping so much that he gets a peek. He gets that kill. That's another round for them, probably. It's a 5 versus 4 already. Heavy God's position could be a problem. Snacks with an instant refrag. Make sure that Heavy God doesn't get away with more than one here.
Tough round to rescue here for Endpoint. That's why Nerds is trying to make this hero play. Problem is how much false information and false sense of security does this lure X Finest into. And look at where Pleasant is right now, carrying out his angles so systematically, and that's what's going to yield him the kill. Nerds was also in a good position, but Pleasant just had his wits about him. Fantastic frag coming through from the Swede, and that pretty much unlocks the round. Look at the patience on display right now from the T side.
Yeah,
Just does the bomb though, by the way.
Yeah, that's a little bit risky. That's why he's so patient right now. He just waits and hopes that Hades is gonna catch a timing. Might actually go down here, but no, quick on the trigger. He wasn't even holding for that. Great reaction. Surreal does manage to get the kill onto Pleasant, but that's just gonna give away his whereabouts, and they can make their way onto the bomb side, get it down. And unless we witness a Surreal clutch from Surreal, that's gonna be a 9th round here for X Finest on the T side.
What a turnaround, considering the way that the map had started at 0-4 for the team who have picked the map as well. Surreal obviously going to have a crack at this with it being the last round of the half, but this is literally mission impossible, and he doesn't look like Tom Cruise to me, Ted.
Nope, not whatsoever. Hades is gonna get it. 11 kills on the T side for the Oper, as X Finest get 9 on their map pick of Overpass. A T side that was really shaky towards the early stages, with 4 rounds going in favor of Endpoint in the beginning. But ever since then, it's just been X Finest. Stay with us after the break to find out if they're gonna be able to close out their map pick of Overpass.
You didn't lie, Ted. We did have a bit of a break.
Okay,
We're back
I
into the
thought it was
game.
gonna be a longer one. To be fair, you know, I'm quite used to having the 3-minute break, but yeah, apparently we're gonna go through, or maybe not. Okay, it's gonna be a 30-second one, so I guess we can just talk it over. I mean, we're already here. Might have some fun with it.
Can't throw it to another break now, could we?
No. I mean, we could, but oh. Okay, it's actually a technical timeout for Finest, so it's yeah, it's not the break between the halves.
Okay, well, I just think if you're Endpoint, you're pretty concerned right now. Heavy God's only got 6 kills. Normally he has a lot more impact than that in a half. CT side overpass, you can make moves. You were talking about that in the first half as well. It's actually, I didn't get to really respond to your point because we went straight back into the action with that double monster push. But I completely agree with everything that you were saying. Personally, I'm a really big fan of overpass. It's actually my favorite map in the pool. And one of the big reasons is exactly what you were preaching about. And it's the fact that there's so much opportunity and potential on the CT side. There's so many different things you can do to accomplish success, not limited by any stretch. So I just think it's a very fun map to watch in that regard, because both teams and both halves are constantly making moves.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the, I'd say that's one of the perks on it. It sets up the Oper for a lot of nice, even if you're just, you know, watching the games to have some fun and see some nice entertaining plays. It sets up quite nicely for some nice clutches, backstabs, highlights and all of that. It's just a pretty interesting map to watch in general, I feel like.
Absolutely. And I think it actually rewards tactful play on the T side as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
But
so
you gotta have a really deep T side. You know, it's not one of the maps on which you can just get away with somebody having a good game and just headshotting people. You need to have a really well built up structure on the offense to be successful.
You get rewarded for doing the fundamentals well on the T side of Overpass, which I really appreciate. Anyway, shifting back into the game here, it's the second pistol round of the first map. Endpoint looking to try and kickstart their campaign here on the T side. Very quick round coming through from them, and Plessen, I don't think he's been spotted out towards long. So he's actually in a fantastic position right now to catch Endpoint off guard and shut this down from the inside out.
Oh, there's one, there's two, looking for a third. He's tapping away. Heavy God does manage to get the refrag finally. That's more than great there for Plessen, and that's a lot of information as well. He spotted the bomb. He's going to give that one away to his teammates. Mighty Max all alone in front of Monster still hasn't really spotted anything, and right now they're just scratching their heads. They're wondering what's going on, and you can see Heavy God actually holding towards Party. They have no idea if he was alone. They have no idea if somebody could have pushed towards T-Spawn, towards T-Con. This is such an open round for Endpoint. It's so confusing.
And losing this pistol round puts so much pressure onto Endpoint as well, right? So a lot riding on this right now as they go back in towards lower. Snacks waiting on the opposite side of the door. Their Heavy God's going to open up. The flash is good. Snacks doesn't get spotted initially, but Surreal does get the kill. Rotations coming through from X Finest. They did catch wind of the slightly early, so at least they got players in position, and the kills come through immediately as well.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough round, and it's now 1 versus 2. Mighty Max actually might get away with a bomb plan. Hades is going to try and run him down. A big risk because he was low on HP, but still manages to get the kill. 10 on the board for Finest. That was a really well played round from the CT side. Pleasant, well, it was a really great round played from Pleasant. I mean, it's nice to see him stepping up. As you pointed out, it's been team effort so far, right? Twist had a couple big rounds on the entry on that T side. He's on 7, but obviously him being the IGL doesn't really require him to have a massive performance when his entire team is doing well, right? You have Hades on 12, Shocks on 12, Snacks on 11, and Pleasant again on 12. And having all of those people perform to a high level, it's always going to mean that you're going to have a tough time playing against a team like Finest.
The thing about X Finest is who's your star player, mate? Because it doesn't feel like they have any out star player.
I guess it's supposed to be Pleasant, but you still have Hades, you have Shocks and Snacks that are put in on massive numbers, so yeah.
That's the thing, is everybody can chip in, but I feel like they rely on that quite heavily, that everybody has to contribute, because they don't have like an out-and-out star who is going to be consistently putting up like 22 kills a map type of thing. So I do think that that's an interesting point, you know, of contention of the X Finest roster. And it has its positives and its negatives, right? It goes both ways. It's not always an issue or a problem. You look at Endpoint, you've got Heavy God, you know, he could be a star player. Nerds obviously is the star player. MHL can take that mantle as well, so it's different.
Yeah, I'd say that MHO is maybe, like, you look at it like from an individual, like, flashy point of view, he might be the biggest, you know. The player with the biggest star potential in the server right now. I mean, even though obviously you have, in terms of the Opers as well, he's a lot more shiny than Hades, even though even though Hades has been a lot more effective so far in this game, and you know, a lot more successful in his career so far. But I guess something that we expect from MHL is to be that difference maker, as he was on Mouse NXT, as he was on AGO when he was playing on that lineup some time ago as well. He's always been kind of under the spotlight in a way.
That's a really good point. Need to see him step into that role. He struggled so far here on Overpass. Ted, only 6 kills to his name as Twist slinks his way into the corner. It's going to be Mighty Max who finds the opening kill. Vital round here for Endpoint, and they're going to be finding the Vital frags here to open up the round as well.
Yeah, 5 versus 3 early on. Pleasant does manage to find an important refrag. Oh, the flash doesn't really phase him. Heavy God is still going to be able to get the kill. Snacks and Hades in a 2 versus 4. And that's actually smart. Serial's just gonna walk his way through toilet, see if he spots anybody, and he's gonna call them back. The only risk here is if Snacks actually makes the run towards short and towards connector, but I don't really think he does. Maybe at this point they realize what's going on. Hades winning that fight against Rio might actually throw a massive spanner into the works if he manages to do so, and he could be in a position to cut off the bomb carrier going onto the side.
Yeah, there shouldn't really have been much hope here in the round for X Finest. Hades is above the molly or in front of the molly, but he won't be able to get the kill. I was wondering whether they'd actually hurt him or not. I don't think he stepped, and I don't think he took to the fire either. So nearly was able to make something happen, but unfortunately not going to happen. Not going to play out the way he would have liked, should I say. Snacks, best he could hope for is saving the gun here, and then maybe dropping an M4 in the next round for a teammate.
Yeah, that was a crucial round coming in for Endpoint. You lose this one, you're way back in this game.
Yeah,
It was going to be a 12-6, no money potentially for the T side, so maybe looking at 13. And you know, once you build up that momentum on the CT side, it's really hard to get the enemy team out of that comfort zone. It was quite good that they managed to make it work here. One thing that we spoke about, by the way, because I saw, you know, people in chat as well asking about it, about Conflict in this entire situation. He did actually play one game with him. It was just a single tier 3 that they did lose 0-2 against Illuminor. That was in the EDC playoffs, and unfortunately, that was the only game that they played with him. I believe he had to step in for Nerds in that specific matchup.
I think Nerds went to a wedding, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was just a stand-in. It wasn't a trial.
Oh yeah, but it was a
once-off
once-off for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people got confused because there was like a whole big deal made of it, but it was actually just a once-off thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a big round for Endpoint, as you say. That can't be a flash in the pan, though. They need to string a couple together off the back of that. They get to break the CT side economy if they win this round right here, right now, and then they get to reduce the deficit to 2. They flash, though, for Pleasant to peek off the back, and Nerds actually took damage from Twist as well. So it'll be X-Finest to innovate to find the opening kill.
Looking for space towards short. Snacks up close. Gonna hear, oh, the sound here. I wonder if there's a flash on the CT side. If Snacks wants to face, he's just gonna hold the line for now. Endpoint start grouping up towards that B-bomb side. Man advantage now for the defense. As we said, money looking quite shaky, but they still had enough to go for another one. Failed Molotov there. It's actually gonna give away their intentions in a way.
Yeah, Heavy God does get the kill onto Snacks. And that levels it back out into a 4v4. Big kill there from Endpoint. Oh, Twist, his feet have been spotted. Yeah. He's actually lucky to be alive. He just kind of gets punished as his feet get tickled there, Ted.
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of players go to the right-hand side of that angle, right? All the way on the right to the wall, because when you're holding from there, your feet actually don't get spotted first. If you're standing kind of in the middle, in front of the tunnel, you're probably going to lose that fight most of the time.
Absolutely. Just by the nature of the architecture of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
And how the angles work.
Shocks.
Physics, bitch.
Oh. Shocks has actually cleared out the entire map. They know exactly what's going on. They're gonna have a 3-man stack, and there's only 10 seconds. Endpoint, they've run that timer completely low.
Shot, Hades.
Oh
my god. Thriving with the scout right now. Could be on for the 3-peat. He will complete the sequence of kills. Beautiful hold coming through there from Hades. Almost to his own devices. Had some support there to take the heat off of him, but those were clean scout shots.
Yeah. Even the style shot there, the headshot on the final one, he was low on HP, didn't really need that. Look at that from Hades. That's great stuff. Finds the first one on the clean headshot, second one towards long. All of them were already chipped down low, so he didn't really need to aim for the head, but he still did. Great stuff, stepping it up. Endpoint, quite indecisive there. It's always a big risk with 15 seconds on the clock to start making your way up towards another bomb site. That's going to be a tough one, especially when they had that aggressive play coming in towards Monster. They knew exactly what was going on. Great mid to late round aggression there from Finest to find out the information. And it's now 7-12. Another buy coming in from the T side. But now it's roles reversed. I mean, money is still not great for X-Finest, but if Endpoint lose that one, they're going to be in a really tough economical state. And look at Pleasant. He's so close. Minute 25. He's in their spawn. That's crazy.
I mean, Surreal was looking to clear it out. Nerds wants to make a push forward off the back of that, thinking, okay, maybe if Pleasant is there, there's a gap to come through lowers, but no, Hades denies him entry to hell.
Yeah,
and
you remember what we spoke about? How that T side could feel really claustrophobic. Yep, there's the example.
Even I'm struggling to breathe here, Ted.
Yeah, minute 25, you get killed in your own spawn, you try and make your way up connector, you get denied, and now you're being contained fully.
It's going to be a great lineup here. Crossfire in play as well. Shock says he wants to get in on the action. And the kills continue to roll through. And actually, just to extrapolate the point I was making earlier, where I suggested X-Finest don't really have any out-and-out star players, the one thing that they do have that most teams don't is a set of 5 fraggers. Twist went huge yesterday in the win that they had in their quarterfinal game. That was over Blue Jays. He had a great performance. And look at the numbers here from the other 4 players, all sort of between 13 and 17 kills right now. So it's not like they have any weak links that they need to carry the dead weight of. So that makes up for the lack of a star player as well.
Yeah. And if you want to make sure you have no weak links in your inventory and your skins, make sure you head over to BitSkins. You know, they're great people. You can click the banner below the stream. Choose nice
skin guy,
gloves.
Ted?
Yeah, I am. I am a massive skin guy. Yeah, I haven't really had the
Trav
time
is
to
as
play.
well.
Yeah, I haven't really had the time to play the game lately. Well, past couple of days because of cast and all of that. But yeah, I really do enjoy playing CS though, and yeah, I'm into skins a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, if you guys want to get kitted out like Ted, then yeah, click the banner below the Twitch channel. He's cool, so I would want to do what he does. Then I can be cool too.
Yeah, that's how it works pretty much. But with CS though, that's what I thought. And when I typed config settings in simple settings and copied that, it didn't really make me better, but I felt good.
Just be careful, man. Wouldn't want you to break a wrist or anything.
Man, I've done that so much. I mean,
Was
well, not break my wrist. No, not break my wrist. No. Copy pro player settings and figure out it doesn't work like that. Yeah.
So you're not going to.
No.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, that's a 14-7 scoreline. What a domination coming through here from X Finest, Ted. That's what. Endpoint were up 4-0. I know I keep hopping on about this, but it means since then the scoreline's 14-3 for X Finest.
Yeah. It's been great. I mean, is their map pick, and they played a really good game here in Overpass so far. You said that you were kind of worried about this being a punishment pick here for X Finest. It has turned out to be like that. They've just played a really good game so far. Nothing really too much to speak about here. Heavy God does manage to find the opening kill, but Snacks is really quick. Look at Heavy God up. The B-bomb side is actually
This is what I want to see.
Free. Yeah,
I mean, this time there won't be any resistance from him, but this is the type of play that I'm accustomed to seeing out of Heavy God. Playing with some, swag in his step type of thing, a bit of flamboyancy, not scared or afraid of anybody, backs himself in every gunfight. Nerds should find the perfect timing, although look at this, Pleasant's gonna clear it. I don't think they're even going for the retake here though, Ted. I think that's actually what this is. Oh god. That's so unfortunate for Nerds, man.
Yeah, the first player doesn't actually clear him off as well. It was just Pleasant. Do they really want to go for the late retake? I feel like they're just thinking about, they're just thinking about getting the kills, which could actually work out. That's a big HE. Heavy God's been dealt with. They've spotted another player towards Monster, or MHL spotted them.
Wait,
no, okay, there's no time. There's no time.
No, there's definitely. I thought for a brief moment there, it looked like they were considering having a crack at it. Mighty Max not gonna be able to stay alive. Max does he spray through the wood? No, he doesn't even spot the player out. Oh god. Mighty Max will be able to stay alive. None of his teammates are afforded that luxury, but Endpoint lived to see another day here on Overpass.
Yeah, that was a good call. Realized that there was a heavy setup towards the A-bomb site. 4 CTs there. Not quite able, and as we spoke about BitSkins, well, let us speak about Hellcase a little bit because they're quite cool as well. You can even use the code CCT. You're gonna get some deposit bonus. You're gonna be a part of the Cool Kids Club. And who doesn't want to be a part of the Cool Kids Club?
Well, personally, I like to be on the outside head, so that's what makes me cool.
Yeah, sure.
Hipsternal,
Yeah.
If everybody likes it, then I don't like it. Catch me on the A4, man.
Yeah. Reddit user. You're the guy on the HOTV forum. That tells me that Snacks is washed in. Yeah, I get it.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have been completely wrong a few months ago. Anyway, it is a huge start to the round here for X Finest, Ted. And this is coming back. They lost the previous round. And Endpoint were thinking, all right, here we go, boys. Maybe we can actually build some momentum. Not even going to try a British accent, but... let's get some points on the board here, but then they just get destroyed off the bat.
Yeah, it's really been an uphill battle so far for Endpoint on this map. I feel like from the start, after the first 4 rounds, we've just seen some domination coming in from X Finest, and I like that. I mean, Overpass has been a really good map for them. Okay, Mighty Max, we hear you.
That's a huge kill out of shot,
the side. Yeah, he's gonna be able to hold on.
I think Mighty Max did spot Twist jumping down now. He'll definitely know it's there from the audio cues. Mighty Max goes for the swing, but Twist was ready and waiting for that. Good kill, good crosshair placement as well. 15-8, X-Finest have earned themselves 7 map points. And keep in mind, guys, Inferno is the next map in the series here, picked by Endpoint. It's not a map that they've consistently shown great form on. In fact, they've only played it like once in the past month or something like that. So I'm a bit concerned for them, considering that X-Finest, you know, proved just yesterday that they're looking really good on Inferno by beating Blue Jays.
Yeah. They played against Trick. I think it was the CCT South Europe series, and they lost that one 9-16. Their last victory was on the 12th of October, if I'm not mistaken. It was against Blue Jays in an Elise Invitational ball game. Won that one 16-6, but yeah, that one's been just a one-way traffic for X-Finest on Overpass. What a way to kick things off here in the semifinals, looking quite solid. Inferno coming up. Endpoint did start well on their defense, but unless we see a 1 versus 5 from Mighty Max, this one is already over.
Yeah, it's going to be on the IGL. Oh, Ted, how does he make this one work? He doesn't.
Yeah. No chance there. 16-8. X-Finest managed to shut down Endpoint and, well, make quite a statement here going into the semifinal, Hayes.
Yeah, that's a huge statement coming through after going down 4-0 at the start of the map. To get themselves off with a 16-8 victory is fantastic. I mean, they looked so polished as well, Ted, didn't they? And I'm going to be concerned, yo. I am concerned for Endpoint's cause. They're going to have to reset themselves in the short break and come back for Inferno.
Yeah, we did expect the transition.
Finally, I found what I was looking for. Now that my search is over, it's gonna be a tough choice. But fortunately, no need to choose when you can just have them all. Buy and sell skins on bitskins.com. Your one-stop shop for all CSGO skins.
Win up to $1 million with your CSGO esports predictions. Simply guess the kill scores of the 10 players in a CSGO match. The more you guess correctly, the bigger the prize. You'll need at least 2 correct predictions to win a prize. Guess all 10 correct and win $1 million. Experience the exciting new way to add a little prosperity when watching esports tournaments. And register now to receive a free entry ticket upon sign-up. Predict kills, win millions, prosper.
Are you sick of just opening cases? Join the events. At each event, you can find special cases from which tokens fall. Tokens are your ticket into a world of unique awards. For tokens, you can buy a skin, premium, or special balance. Try your luck in the skin generator. Also, you can leave your tokens at the token vault. And the more tokens you keep, the better skin you'll get. Add variety to opening cases with Hellcase.
The hunger for glory feeds the desire, the courage to look for a challenge, to feed your ambitions. To reach for greatness. To become the champion of champions.
We are back for the second map of the first semi-final of the day, CCT Central Europe Series 3. My name is Hayes. I am joined by my Bulgarian brother, Ted. I mean, we never really saw much out of Endpoint on that first map, so it means that they need to come back and fight here on Inferno, the pick of their choice, Ted, to keep themselves alive in the semi-final.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an uphill fight for the Endpoint boys. I feel like X-Finest just had a really good game plan going into that overpass. It's always been quite a comfortable map for them. We spoke about snacks on the TE side, just a really well built up structure. The CT side, I feel like it was just no chance for Endpoint to fight against. But yeah, the first half started well. You picked up the pistol, you picked up the conversions, you were 4-0 up. But ever since, it's just been X-Finest in the server. So now the question is, can they actually bounce back on Inferno, which we know for a fact hasn't really been great for them either in terms of recent results?
I mean, they did get a win on the map recently, right? I think they won it, was it against Honorous, or excuse me, no, Blue Jays was who Endpoint beat on Inferno. That was a month ago. So they haven't actually played the map in a while, you know, once in the past few weeks. My concern, though, is we haven't seen Endpoint pick Inferno. I went back 10 series. They hadn't picked it once in any of those games before this match, and I never had time to go back and look at the matches before that. So I don't even know when the last time we saw Endpoint pick Inferno coming into a best of 3.
Yeah, I was actually surprised by it because I was going through, you know, some of the previous games. And Inferno is actually a map that they did remove a couple times. So yeah, I think that it might be something that caught X-Finest off guard as well a little bit, but I think they like it in a good way. Caught them off guard. And yeah, obviously For those of you that are just joining in, lovely fellas at home, what we're looking at right now is the first semi-final of the CCT Central Europe Series 3, Endpoint taking on X-Finest. Both teams did manage to make their way through to the playoffs. Both teams obviously invited, so they didn't really have to battle it out through the main Swiss in the group stage. On the other side of the bracket, we have K23 taking on Copenhagen Flames, which is going to take place straight after the end of this game. And later on today, we're going to have the final as well to see who's going to be the third champion of champions here in Central Europe.
Yeah, you get yourself some sweet points for the circuit as well, of course. $22,000 goes to the first place.
Yeah, there's the studio finals approaching as well, right? It's gonna be a LAN tournament in Malta, I believe. So, yeah, you want to get 1 or 2 wins under your belt and make sure that you're gonna be traveling to Malta, especially if it's soon, right? Winter months, go to Malta, chill a little bit.
There we go. You guys get to see the progression on your screens right now. It starts with the open qualifiers where any team from the region are able to get themselves involved in the competition. Then you qualify for the play-in, and through the play-ins you go into the play-in deciders, which leads into the group stage. And then of course where we are now is the playoffs. The group stage is made up of that Swiss stage, right? Whereas the play-in is, I think it's 4 groups of 4 teams, and 1 team from each group makes it through to the Swiss stage. They get joined by 12 invited teams, and then 8 teams from the group stage go through to the playoffs, and they get joined by 8 more invited teams once again. Yeah,
it's gonna be a brawl. But speaking about a brawl, you know what's gonna be a brawl? It's gonna be Inferno. We're ready to jump straight into the server for map number 2 and see if X-Finest are gonna be able to close it out. Starting on the CT side on their opponent's map pick. Pisto underway already. Hayes, talk us through.
I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see what Endpoints have in store for us here, considering they haven't picked this map in ages. Now they have to win on this map just to take us to a decider, and they're going to be going aggressively up middle right now, are Endpoint, but they're running into a stack here of the CT players, and it's a bloodbath, and the blood is spilled by Endpoint. Finally, Nerds gets a kill back, but that's the only frag so far in the round here for the T side. It's a disaster.
He has the same USP for the clip as well. Snacks does manage to pick up the double kill. It's a 1 versus 4 for Nurse required. It would be the ace clutch as well, so that would be one for the history books. But they really don't see it happening. What a way to kick things off here for X-Finest. It's a complete shutdown, especially if you manage to close it out with only 1 player going down after such a dominant game on overpass. Momentum's surely going to be on your side, and Nerds is going to start making his way out. As soon as he makes first contact, though, there's going to be players swinging for his head.
Yeah, this is, it doesn't get more difficult than this, I'm afraid. Practically impossible. The best he could hope for is maybe a kill before he goes down, but even that's a stretch. Look at how much discipline X-Finest are playing with, by the way.
Yeah. Trying to bait him in the open. And Pleasant gonna put him to sleep. A double kill for Shocks, 1 for Pleasant, a double for Snacks, and a first for X-Finest. There's the replay as well. It was just a really good call coming in from Finest, right? They were completely prepared for it. Really good preparation, which is, you know, having that call as well. It feels like they just had an idea on what to expect. It's interesting because Endpoint haven't played Inferno in a long time, as you pointed out. We actually had X-Finest played yesterday against Blue Jays. It was a 19-17 victory. It was a really good day, as you pointed out, for Twist. He dropped 30 in the end on that map. Pleasant dropped 29, so it was Swedish Delight coming in for X-Finest, and they would be hoping to replicate that here. I mean, yesterday they did manage to get 9 rounds on their CT side, and then had obviously only 6 on the T side, so it was overtime. But yeah, the defense actually looked quite solid.
I think the nice thing about that pistol setup is that you've got a very quick flank with 4 players pushing up banana if the T side do go B, so there is like a secondary part to the strategy as well. It is a force buy here from Endpoint right now, grouped up at the bottom of ramp. Hades is getting aggressive in towards second middle. Needs to be careful that he doesn't bite off more than he can chew here. If he goes down, that'll create a lot of space, and he realizes how important his life actually is.
Yeah, gonna fall back for now. They've spotted the force buy as well. They heard the pistols fire up. No bomb plan obviously is gonna give that one away. You know that there's not enough money to afford the pistols and still be okay financially in the next one. Surreal actually dancing around in the apartments. Hades doesn't really want to go down there. They still have the man advantage. Want to keep as many players alive as possible, and they have the boost for Snacks going over towards the B-bomb side. Flashed off the angle. Twist is nearby to support him. They're just gonna get pushed back towards the bomb side. And there is still actually a fair amount of utility on Endpoint. They can mount up somewhat of an execute. They can smoke off CT and runes, but they'll need those pistols to connect.
There's no utility on the side of X-Finest though as well. So Definitely a good opportunity on the execute here. Is two players rooted on the B bomb side. Who takes first contact is the question. Twist is on top of the first oranges. We'll get a kill. Oh my god. Just a sea of blue in the kill feed. Snacks and Shocks chime in to get all 4 frags. Great timing on the peak there as Shocks pushes through the smoke as well.
Yeah, there's the replay. Quite unfortunate for Heavy God, or rather for the player that got killed towards middle. I'm not sure who that one was.
Yeah.
Might have been Mighty Max. But yeah, it was a good hold from X Finest. I mean, you had the weaponry advantage. It was a force buy coming in from Endpoint. Quite a risky decision. I feel like they just tried to surprise them there. You could see that there was a lot of MP9s being brought in the previous round as well. Maybe thinking it would be the eco. Well, now they will be able to farm up the cash. Hades and Twist looking to get it done. And there you have it. Twist just running down middle.
Okay, this is the MP9, the MP9 show. 4 kills coming at the hands of the 2 SMGs. Shocks actually gets one of those frags and E250 to finish it off. It's very aggressive from X Finest. They're completely smothering Endpoint. Yeah. Making a bit of a statement. Keep in mind, even though this is Endpoint's pick, this is a map that X Finest have proven to be proficient on in the past. They used to pick it back in the days of being Finest as well. I mean, you already mentioned the result against Blue Jays as recently as yesterday. But Endpoints have got an uphill battle here. It's not like this is a punish pick by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it isn't. It's interesting because this is the first time that those two teams actually play Inferno between each other. The last time these two faced off against each other was at the Pinnacle Cup 3. And Finest did win that one. It was a 16-13 on Dust 2 and a 16-9 on Mirage, but obviously they were with their old lineups. Endpoint still had Crucial and Boros on, and Finest still had Krias and Anarchist. First time they face off against each other with those rosters. First buy round though, coming in for the T side. A fair amount of damage done early on to both MHL and Surreal. Hades has the AWP on his disposal, and he's going to be moving quite a lot around the map. That's one of the maps on which he's quite mobile on, actually, on the CT side.
Just want to point out, interestingly, Snacks has struggled on Inferno in the past 12 months. His rating substantially lower than his average rating, as we do see Pleasant taking contact, playing around the fringes of the smoke right now. So ball coming through from him, but somehow he comes away with 3 frags. Absolutely huge coming through from Pleasant. What a hold.
Yeah, that was great. What a triple kill. Blocks the smoke, creates himself a bit of a one-way. They tried to spam it through, but just couldn't see if he was actually there. They couldn't hear if they were hitting him either. Which they weren't. Wouldn't have made a difference. A 5 versus 2. What a shutdown from Finest. It's pretty much the same way that Overpass started, but the other way around. And you got to feel like Finest, they're not going to drop the ball that easily. Snacks gets another one. MHL low on HP. He was the first one to take contact in the round, and he's going to be the last one to survive. Holding on to the AK. What a round for X Finest. What a statement. That's only
absolutely.
one player. No, 2 players going down combined in the first 4 rounds of action here in Inferno.
That's a disaster. Basically no kills to speak of for Endpoint.
Yeah.
And that was just Pleasant just single-handedly locking it down. Taking initiative, right? Playing around the fringe of the smoke, not falling back and taking the passive option. And actually, I just love his intention after he gets the first kill. Look how he doesn't see the second player. Maybe he slightly does, but he just transfers perfectly anyway.
Yeah, it's great. He realizes that he has a one-way. He realizes that, you know, he's with the silenced M4, so it's always going to be tough for them to realize exactly where he's shooting them from. Had a really advantageous fight. Another half buy coming in for Endpoint. Hero AK for MHL that he saved up from the previous round. A couple upgraded pistols around the board. They still have a fair amount of utility as well. And a bit of a quicker one towards second middle. It looks like Hades towards the apartments might have some fun with the AWP.
Very aggressive from Endpoint in towards middle here right now. Shocks just gets lined up, so not a bad result that he gets a kill before he goes
Hades
down.
Is
but
alone.
He's going to have to do a lot of work right now. They've spotted him out as well. He's been able to get a tag. Snacks desperately rotating through to try and support them. Looks like he'll arrive on the scene just in time. Spots out the Archers player. Doesn't know there's a second piece of the setup here as well, though.
Oh, had an idea. Nerd still wins that fight. It's 3 versus 3. Pleasant pushes all the way towards Banana. Goes down, and now it's just Twist, but he's got the bomb. And Hades on the other side of the map is starting to move around. MHL holding the line, gets the kill, and now it's just Twist. The 1 versus 3 here, and they knew exactly where he was.
Exactly. So they don't have to worry about him. That's why I'm a little bit circumspect of Pleasant's positioning there. Wide swinging middle for the fight like that when they've dropped the bomb already. And Pleasant's the unknown factor as well, right? I'm not sure if he was maybe spotted, but he's not the player who got the kill. lots of gunfights taken across the board and just lots of gunfights missed, unfortunately, in isolation for X-Finest, right? Snacks in towards Library, loses his life. Hades misses his gunfight. Pleasant goes down. Just all the individual fights being taken by the CT side not going their way. So Endpoint will get themselves on the board.
Yeah, they were expecting a fast B play. They had 3 towards the start of it. And as soon as the player towards middle goes down, which is, you know, a bit awkward for him to find himself in that position. He wasn't ready for the pop with the flashes, you know, the fast play throughout Boiler. And Hades being alone actually panicked them a little bit because he's got the AWP. You could see how everybody just started charging forward. They dropped the bomb towards middle, but in the meantime, they just lose Snacks towards the Library. So they feel like they need to continue going for fights. And yeah, it was just a really awkward round for X-Finest. Twist is still going to be able to do some damage later on. Not sure if he hears the player behind him. I think that he's done it now. And actually gets away with another one. Doesn't hold on to the AWP, but what matters here is that, you know, he's done the economical damage. There's the replay as well. Nice shot from Surreal. Great recovery from MHL as well with that double there.
Absolutely. Didn't see much impact out of him at all on Overpass. Teams desperately going to need him to come to the fray here on Inferno. Will be enough cash in the bank for X-Finest to invest here in this next round. We saw Endpoint go up 4-0 on Overpass and lose their first round after that. That's when X-Finest got into the swing of things. Does history repeat itself just in the reverse here, Ted?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why we see the tactical timeout being brought in, because they realized they didn't lose to a full buy. So there's no reason to panic, right? You just lost to the half buy, a bit of a gimmicky play out of middle. Something faster, caught you off guard. It's all good. You can recover from it. You want to make sure that you don't repeat Endpoint's mistakes from Overpass. Obviously, I don't think there's a possibility of, you know, that happening in the same fashion. And by that, I mean, you know, Endpoint dominating this game and easily taking it into the bag, as Finest did on the first map. You got to feel like the Finest boys are going to be able to provide a bit more of a fight here.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be surprised if we saw what happened on Overpass happen here on Inferno, but with the roles reversed, that would surprise me more than what happened on Overpass. Anyway, big gun round here. Still a lot of cash in the bank for X-Finest, probably enough to justify a buy even if they lose this round. Can't say the same for Endpoint, even though they won the previous round. And that's largely thanks to the amount of the damage Twist does with those Exa kills. A big chance here for X-Finest to really keep the pressure on their opponents by winning this round.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're just playing it quite defensively, trying to hold on to their utility, slow down the T's as much as possible. And Endpoint actually haven't done a lot to actually get away, bait out the utility from the CT side. Retake nades towards the top of Banana. Snacks, last Molotov towards the B-bomb side. Twist has a smoke in hand. But these are yet to make a move, and with the time actually running low, they need to get a move on. That's a lovely shot from Mighty Max.
Beautiful shot comes through from him, but look at Shocks in Apartments. That catches Endpoint off guard, but that's not where the hit's coming through anyway. Endpoint, they're shifting their way in towards this B-bomb site. Fresh molly from Snacks is going to keep them at bay. Twist is there with the smoke grenade as well, so this is going to be really difficult for Endpoint on the entry.
Oh, they're going to get smoked off as well. 20 seconds, they need to run through this. There's a massive gap. Surreal takes down a teammate, and it's Pleasant with the swing from CT to take him all down. Molds them into nothing. 6 feet under, and 5 rounds on the board for X-Finest.
Shocks breathes a huge sigh of relief. Pleasant just go wild and kill. Here's the DK. Unfortunately for Surreal, has to take down Heavy God to get that kill on the player in the bomb site. It almost felt like X-Finest had blundered a little bit there, that the smoke had come through too late from Twist, so he wasn't actually able to extinguish the molly with the smoke and have it, you know, in the correct place. And there was a gap. And Snacks tries to swing that gap, but he's only good for damage anyway. It's Pleasant who finishes off the round. He's 8-1 right now, and X-Finest straight back to winning ways.
Yeah, that was a great response from X-Finest. They needed this round. Endpoint now take a tactical timeout on the back of it. Money's absolutely gone. MHO is the only one that could afford a rifle. Everybody else has to go for the upgraded pistols. Kills, still a massive problem. We're 6 rounds into the game. Endpoint have picked up 8 kills in total. The entire team. God. That's not enough. That's surely not enough. I mean, even if you get away with a gimmicky play, even if you get away with that half-buy with the pistols working out, you're still not able to actually make Finest feel uncomfortable from any point of view, right? They knew that they got caught off guard. Okay, that's fine. Money's still good. We can continue reinvesting. Everything's under control. We're back to winning ways. This could be a really dominant semifinal here unless Endpoint change things up, and they need to do it now.
They need Heavy God to come to the party as well. I know everybody's struggling, so you can't just put it on his shoulders, but this is the worst series that's had so far from Endpoint since he's joined the squad. It will be Pleasant who steps out again, gets himself 3.
Another one.
Sure, it's against the Pistols, but good spray transfer comes through from him. And if X-Finest only drop the 1 player in the round, then they'll regard that as a success.
Yeah, multi-kill potential is massive for Pleasant. That's the second triple kill he gets in this game. And another one that single-handedly wins them the round. It doesn't really matter, as you pointed out, it's against the Pistols. This was the only round that they did lose so far on the map. So Pleasant making sure that this one is going to be nice, quick, and easy. Going to put his teammates in ease. 6-1. Money looking fantastic once again. Emphasizing on that for the defensive side of things. Pleasant the only one, well, alongside Snacks, that's below 5k. MVP of the latest round, obviously, after the 3-player mow down. Back to the AWP and the AKs though for the T's. Hades gonna go for an early peek towards Banana. Both Hoppers actually miss each other.
Yeah. Both Polish Hoppers, actually, something we haven't mentioned yet, Ted. So Countryman locking
true.
horns with the AWP. But it's
we
gonna
have
be
a
Shocks who
lot
finds
of
the opening.
Polish presence today.
Yeah, that's true. Snacks in the server as well.
Yeah. You have the coach of X-Finest as well, Bogdan. He was the coach of Finest, of Honoris and Illuminar beforehand. Quite familiar with the Polish scene.
Yeah, it's a good point. We do see this round taking a bit of shape here. X-Finest with that 1-man advantage, and this was the gun round for Endpoint as well to try and sink their teeth into this T side and begin to build themselves a bit of a platform. They're a man down right now, don't have a huge amounts of utility left remaining either. Options available though with both Banana Control, Apartments, and Middle.
Yeah, the AWP is just looking for opening. You can see them being really separated right now. A smoke towards CT to try and keep them at bay. Make sure that at least you're walking into 2 members on that A-bomb side. But that setup is so powerful. If Shocks gets the first kill here, this is surely going to be a round for them. And with 30 seconds, he's going to deploy the one-way. He doesn't really care.
Yeah.
He wants to take all the attention away. Right now, his aim is get 1 kill, set up Pleasant for success. That's going to be enough. And the Molotov for sure. They need to go through this one.
Oh my god, perfectly timed utility usage coming through here from Shocks. We saw it on the B-bomb side a couple rounds ago, and now we see it over towards A. That AT grenade would have been splendid onto MHL, would have done a huge chunk of damage. Now there's no chance for Endpoint. Still looks like they're going to have a crack at this, but they're just committing to their death. There was no way to win that round, Ted. They definitely should have committed to saving the weapons, which is what MHL will do. The Shocks just stops there. Doesn't cross the line, which means he will stay alive. 7-1.
Yeah. Feels like the T's are just not doing enough to bait out the utility, right? We had that round towards the B-bomb side some time ago when I believe it was Snacks and Pleasant had a bonus Molotov and a smoke left with just 20 seconds on the mark, and the T's once again just had to run through a smoke, and they had to slow down their entire play, waiting for the Molotov. That gave enough time to Pleasant to arrive at the scene as well. Pretty much the same thing happening here, right? I mean, there's only 20 seconds. You get mollied off, you get naded, you need